I want to try and find a tree, maybe a burrowing fern, and some bush. I reckon I might be a chance. It's not bad, it's got a good shape. I can't hear it, but inside here there's 10 billion things going on. Nutrients being drawn up. It's an absolute carnival of natural activity, a celebration of the incredible invisible power of nature. 10,000 different things all happening, encased in this grand exterior, and that's all we see. But it's the energy of this tree, difficulty, the challenge and the grandeur of this particular subject, which obviously is a bush scene. So, what is this challenge? Well, the challenge is that the eye sees so much. It's absolutely, what's the word? I can't even say jam-packed. I mean, there isn't really a word to describe it. Every single little leaf, and there's how many of them, is also a masterclass in detail and energy and vitality. So on a big scale, the challenge is, how do you capture that? Now here's the danger that most people fall into. They want to paint each leaf with a little brush and think that they can recreate that detail. It's impossible, there's too much of it. Or they get a normal sized brush and they block areas in and create what they think is the illusion of foliage. And it works, I mean you can see it's foliage, but it doesn't have the energy in it. So the challenge is to get energy into a forest scene. And I'm going to make it more green than this, but what I do like is the light that's coming through, and I'm going to play with that. I like also this track, but it's too big. This is a fire track. So what I think I might do is change the format, obviously, but I do like a tree like this as a sort of anchoring visual point. The charm of it is incredible as well, and the different angles of branches and stuff is fantastic. But a walking track, I think, that curves through into the bush just adds a little bit of charm and the human touch, especially for something like this. So I think a track that walks, say, let's have a look. So I think it would curve around a tree, don't you? We'll take that tree out without chopping it down. The whole thing's going to be different, isn't it? And we'll just take a little track in there if we want. We don't have to, but we get to play with it. But what is necessary is, I think, the light that is coming at a distinct angle, and it lights aspects of the scene, whatever they may be, and that's an absolute joy to do. Still can't hear it, but I can hear everything else, birds and things, as the sun sets soon. Another half an hour, this place will be alive with birdsong, saying goodnight to each other or whatever they do. But there we are, that's the challenge, how we create the illusion of incredible detail, if not actual detail, without going to the too stupid techniques that are just too common that it's disappointing, of a very small brush, trying to recreate leaf by leaf by leaf, or facile technique of, if you can call it that, of just blocking in and maybe dabbing with a fan brush or something stupid like that. And everyone goes, oh, isn't that incredible? But it is just dishonouring the intensity of life that exists here, both visually and spiritually in its vitality. So we're going to get rid of that crap and I'll show you how it's done. So what am I here to do? I'm here to paint, not to muck around. So let's get that paint onto canvas. I'm not worried about colour. I'm not going to fart around on the palette trying to get exact colours. Not worried about it. I'm not even worried precisely where things are going to go. Where the tree is, how big the tree is. I'm not worried about any of that. What I am concerned with is the spirit of the elements of this subject. An element is, for instance, a tree, the fern, the light, distant foliage, mid-foliage, bushes, shrubs, sticks. What does each of one of these feel like? That's what concerns me. And I'm concerned with texture. The brush and the knife create different types of texture and used differently, create more differences again. And I'm worried about tone, how light or dark these applications are, because I want them light for a very special reason. And I'll explain all of that in a later video, not now. Let's get on with this painting. And you can see the result of it happening. So here I am, I've got now the beginnings of what I call an empowerment, driving creative energy onto the canvas in the spirit of the element of the subjects. That's what this is. Half done, you can see the texture, you can see the immediacy, and where you may see ugliness and amateurishness, I see exactly what I want, because I'm going to mould and shape this, just like a sculptor with clay. And there it is, an hour's work or so, if that. A heap of energy, very raw, very light in tone, with all of the freedom for me to adjust things. I don't like the tree trunk. Good, no worries, I'll change it as I go. I do like already the feeling of light in this painting. And because that dark branch here is out of place and interfering with the flow of light from the rear into the front of the painting, I'm getting rid of it. There it goes. And that now is my base, and it has to go rock hard. Wonderful. Now we'll jump ahead a couple of stages, about a month and a half or something like that, which includes drying time. And I'm beginning the process of developing the complexity, which happens through different techniques and different combinations of techniques. At this stage I would have used 6 or 7 techniques. Most people just use 3. And I've got 12 to draw from. What happened to the tree trunk? Well, moved it around. Freedom, that's what I'm about. Creative freedom. This is much better, but I'm still not happy with it. But it doesn't matter, I don't want to be happy with it. If I'm happy with anything at this point, I'll leave it, and that will hold me back. I want the whole thing to be in a state of creative flux. What I call doors of opportunity, creative doors of opportunity available to me. And so I focus on the light, the pervading light as it washes through. You can't add that in later, because the other elements of the subject are determined by light. And at this point, I have a flourishing of light. And the painting from here can go in many different directions. I can take it into a place where the viewer can barely discern anything. This is what Turner did. All you would see is the wash of light and the mysterious form of landscape features, encapsulated in light and born of light. Those paintings are sublime. On this one though, I'm going to refine it more in terms of the forest scene that we visited. So you will be able to see parts of the landscape that we visited more clearly. Bang. 9 months later, here we are. To get to this point was a lot of creative work, a lot of decision making. And I thought, well, why not share the final moments with you as I speak live while I'm painting? So let's listen in. So it's intensifying the drama between the two colours in a very localised area. I'll show you what I mean. I want to keep the path separate from this colour, for now anyway. Because I don't want to wash the colour through the entire painting just yet, or if at all. So what I'll do is I think I'll put some green into here. I've got a splash of light I want to come through here as well. So I'm going to intensify that. I'm definitely not painting a little bush, am I, with, you know, a brush with 3 hairs on it. All of this texture is working for me by increasing the effects of detail, the illusion of detail. I can take that one out. In other words, I can make it more green if I want. I can always, as I say, wipe all this off, and the same green up into here. Now, it effectively turns light into foliage as well. Okay folks, here we go. What I'm going to do is put paint on the cloth and locate where I want the paint to start, and then in a stroke, with one expressive moment of vitality, a statement of vitality, capture light blasting through this scene. This is called the creative rag technique. You just got to hold your breath and go for it. Okay, well that's not bad. In fact, it worked. But what I want to do is just diffuse it a little bit. It's very localized, and that does occur. But not for this one, because the painting is not just about the light. It's really a moment in the forest itself, all the different elements and features and moods and areas and depths and so forth, all combined into one. It's not a dramatic statement only. So this is just one element amongst many. And the way that we diffuse that a bit is just by softening the singular path of it. Like that. And also like this. Back into it. There we go, that's better. That's better. Now we're talking. Creative? Fun? You betcha. Now it's very, very tempting to overdo these lovely little light incidents. And it'll need some in this bottom left corner as well. These were all sitting there waiting for a decision. Decision is made, and there they are. Different colour, different effect, but the original foundational colour, in fact there's 40 or 50 original foundational colours in there, all contribute to the end result, the overall impression or the overall thrust of colour that is chosen to meet the eye. Okay, now you would have noticed that the tree trunk itself is pretty much lost, and I haven't done hardly any work on a tree trunk. It would have been the very first thing a person coloured in. Tiny little brush trying to recapture detail, not possible. And in any case, when something is backlit by light, it's indistinct, but I want to make it more distinct. Well, there we are. We've jumped ahead right here, about 9 months of work. Many stages. A whole lot of doors of opportunity opening for me. I walked through some, choosing them, and into another creative environment of a whole lot of other doors of opportunity, but slightly smaller because I'm refining the painting now, bringing it home. I've made my choices, I have to live by them. I still have some creative freedom at this point, But I've harnessed the creative freedom for this painting to bring it to this level of development. And it is bristling with life and bristling with detail. Every square inch is packed with visual vitality, creative energy, a feast for the eye. And that's what respects the visual vitality of the natural scene in real life. The techniques and the combination of techniques, all of them, 12 of them now, have worked together through the stages, through various levels of transparency, and through the effects of ambient light, room light, that works within the paint surface itself. There's a whole lot going on in there. Again, I'll explain that in another video. So here we are, let's bring it home. And that's it, done, finished. There it is. The result of 1,000 or 10,000 different choices, minimum 12 months work. There's nowhere else I can take it. It's finished. And this painting could have been so very different. I could have done anything along the way. And this is the unique, singular, final result of all of those choices. And not every painting is unique. Have a look at this close up. You cannot replicate any of this. That's 1 square inch. There's another square inch and another. Across the breadth and width of this painting, that cannot be reproduced. It cannot. So whether you like it or not, or whether it's good or bad, is less important to me than the sheer fact of this painting's authenticity. I have given birth. So how do I feel about it? Good. But all of those doors of opportunity that I denied along the way call me. So how do I feel? I feel like getting a fresh canvas, blank, and starting all over again. Man, I should have brought a swag. It's so lovely here. It's so lovely here. Thank you.